In the world of boxing, few names inspire both awe and intimidation quite like that of Naoya Inoue. Known universally by his moniker, the Monster, Inoue has built a reputation as one of the most devastating punchers pound for pound in modern history. His rise from a prodigious child talent in Japan to a global superstar has not only reshaped expectations for lighter-weight fighters but also demonstrated how skill, discipline, and sheer willpower can forge greatness against the sternest opposition. The arc of his career, from the earliest days in the gym to legendary championship clashes, reads like an epic carved into the chronicles of the sport. Naoya Inoue's journey began almost as soon as he could stand. Born in Zama, Kanagawa, Japan, in 1993, he was introduced to boxing at the tender age of 5 by his father, Shingo Inoue. Shingo himself had been an amateur boxer and recognized that his son possessed an unusual mix of coordination, reflexes, and fearlessness. What might have been an experimental pastime for many children became a lifelong calling for Naoya. While most children spent their early years playing games without discipline, Naoya was already learning how to throw combinations, how to move his feet with precision, and how to control distance inside the ring. His family quickly understood that this was not just a phase but the beginning of something extraordinary. As he grew older, his talent became undeniable. By his teenage years, Naoya had transformed into a force within the amateur boxing scene in Japan. He accumulated a stunning record of 75 victories against only 6 defeats, a tally that hinted at the professional excellence that lay ahead. Inoue's amateur career was not merely built on padding statistics against weak opposition. He consistently faced strong competition, testing himself against the best prospects across Asia. One of his earliest major milestones came in 2010, when he earned a silver medal at the Asian Youth Championships. This achievement was not only proof of his skill but also an indication that he was prepared to contend at the highest levels of international boxing. 2 years later, in 2012, Naoya made the transition that would forever alter his destiny. Leaving behind the amateur ranks, he entered the professional stage. In Japan, a nation steeped in combat sports history but often overshadowed in global boxing narratives, the arrival of Inoue signaled the beginning of a new era. From his debut, it was apparent that he was not an ordinary young prospect. His technique, his precision, and most importantly, his terrifying knockout power were years ahead of his age. Watching him dismantle opponents was like witnessing a natural disaster in controlled form. Sudden, devastating, and impossible to stop. Each fight seemed to reinforce the idea that Japan had birthed a generational talent. Fans and analysts alike marveled at the way he blended patience with aggression. Unlike many knockout artists who relied solely on power, Inoue combined ring intelligence with ferocity. He would bide his time, dissecting opponents with sharp jabs and measured footwork, and then, like a coiled serpent, he would unleash an explosive combination that left adversaries crumpled on the canvas. The boxing world began to take notice, and by 2017, his record stood at a pristine 15 wins without a single loss. Among those victories, the WBO junior bantamweight title shone as a crown jewel in his growing collection. But Inoue's ascent was far from finished. In 2018, he defeated Jamie McDonnell in dramatic fashion to claim the WBA bantamweight title. The victory not only demonstrated his dominance but also revealed his ability to conquer new weight divisions with relative ease. McDonnell was a respected champion, a veteran with size and experience, but against Naoya, he stood little chance. The Japanese phenom showcased his speed and precision, overwhelming McDonnell and establishing himself as one of the sport's most feared men regardless of division. Shortly thereafter, Inoue entered the prestigious World Boxing Super Series, WBSS, a tournament designed to bring together the best fighters in each division to unify titles and settle supremacy. For many champions, the WBSS was a daunting gauntlet of elite opposition. For Inoue, it became a stage on which he displayed the true terror of his abilities, and the quarterfinal, he faced Juan Carlos Peano, a skilled and experienced fighter known for his tricky style. Instead of rushing recklessly, Inoue displayed an unusual patience. He studied Peano carefully, waiting for the precise opening. When the moment came, he struck with ruthless efficiency. A single, thunderous punch ended the contest in the first round, sending shockwaves across the boxing world. Peano had not merely lost, he had been dismantled with surgical precision. Fans and commentators struggled to comprehend how someone could dispatch such an experienced opponent with such ease, and the semi-final, Inoue's challenge grew steeper. He squared off against Puerto Rican champion Emmanuel Rodriguez, who held both the IBF title and the Ring Magazine belt. Rodriguez entered the fight with confidence, landing solid punches in the opening minute and appearing to trouble Inoue with sharp combinations. Yet from the second minute onward, the Japanese champion began to shift gears. He targeted the body with ferocious accuracy, hammering Rodriguez with shots that sapped his energy and broke his rhythm. By the second round, Inoue was in full control, pressing forward with blistering offense. A razor-sharp left hook sent Rodriguez crashing to the canvas. Though the Puerto Rican bravely rose, he was soon dropped again, and within moments, the referee waved off the contest. Inoue had dismantled yet another champion, and the aura of invincibility surrounding him grew thicker. With such dominant victories in the quarterfinal and semi-final, many observers predicted that Inoue would breeze through the tournament final. His opponent, however, was no ordinary fighter. Standing across from him was Nonito Donaire, a 45-fight veteran and one of the most respected figures in modern boxing. Known as the Filipino Flash, Donaire was a multi-division world champion with an illustrious career spanning decades. Though he entered the fight as an underdog, his experience, power, and unshakable determination promised to test Inoue in ways no other opponent had. The stage was set for a legendary battle. Inoue himself admitted that Donaire was someone he had admired since childhood, a fighter whose career had inspired him before he even turned professional. Donaire, on his part, recognized the immense challenge of facing a pound-for-pound elite talent like Inoue, acknowledging that while he had fought champions before, he had never faced anyone with such a reputation for destructive dominance. When the two met in November 2019, fans anticipated fireworks, but what unfolded surpassed even the boldest expectations. For 12 grueling rounds, the fighters waged war in a contest that became an instant classic. Inoue controlled the early stages, landing punches that would have stopped most opponents. Yet Donaire refused to wilt. In the second round, he delivered a crushing left hook that shattered Inoue's right orbital bone. For most fighters, such an injury would have spelled disaster. Yet Inoue persevered, enduring the pain while continuing to press forward. The middle rounds were a battle of wills. Donaire, emboldened by his success, pressed the action with speed and experience, landing solid shots that cut Inoue above the eye and left him bleeding profusely. Still, the Japanese warrior refused to retreat. By the fifth round, Inoue regained momentum, rocking Donaire with a left hook and nearly finishing him with a massive right hand. Yet the veteran survived, clawing his way back into the fight and forcing the younger champion to dig deeper than ever before. As the fight stretched into the late rounds, both men showcased heart and resilience rarely witnessed at the elite level. In the 10th, Inoue came out determined to put an end to the contest, landing flurries of punches with unrelenting intensity. Then, in the 11th round, he landed the shot that would define the fight, a devastating left hook to the body that sent Donaire collapsing to the canvas. Gasps filled the arena, but incredibly, the Filipino rose, refusing to surrender. Even after such punishment, Donaire countered with sharp punches, demonstrating the indomitable spirit that had carried him through his storied career. Heading into the 12th and final round, Donaire knew he needed a knockout to win. He fought valiantly, throwing everything he had left, but Inoue's power and resilience secured him a hard-fought decision victory. The bout was hailed as one of the greatest fights of the modern era, a war that tested both fighters to their absolute limits. Donaire later admitted that Inoue was the toughest opponent he had ever faced, praising his combination of skill, power, and courage. For Inoue, the fight became a defining moment, proving that he possessed not only destructive ability but also the heart of a true champion. The respect between the two warriors grew into a bond that transcended rivalry. Donaire, despite the defeat, left the ring with his legacy enhanced, while Inoue's legend reached new heights. Fans clamored for a rematch, and in 2022, their wishes were granted. The second meeting carried enormous stakes. By then, Inoue held the WBA and IBF titles, while Donaire brought the WBC belt. The unification of the bantamweight division was on the line, and anticipation soared. Unlike their first battle, which had been a drawn-out war of attrition, the rematch unfolded in brutal efficiency. Inoue, having learned from their first encounter, wasted no time imposing his will. He unleashed his trademark combinations, overwhelming Donaire with blistering speed and accuracy. By the second round, the veteran champion could no longer withstand the onslaught. Inoue scored a knockout victory, cementing his dominance and completing the unification of the bantamweight division. The performance earned Inoue the title of the Ring's Fighter of the Year, a recognition of his remarkable accomplishments. With a perfect record of 28 wins, 25 of which came by knockout, Inoue's career trajectory pointed toward all-time greatness. His ability to move up in weight while maintaining his power and precision placed him among the sport's rarest talents. Comparisons were drawn to legends such as Manny Pacquiao, another Asian fighter who transcended divisions and etched his name in the pantheon of the sport. What makes Inoue's story even more compelling is the cultural context. In Japan, boxing has always occupied a unique space. The nation reveres its champions, yet historically, Japanese fighters struggled to gain the same global recognition as their Western counterparts. Inoue changed that narrative. His devastating performances forced international media and fans to pay attention. Broadcasters around the world began to feature his fights, and his reputation as one of the sport's most exciting athletes grew rapidly. He became not just a Japanese star but a global ambassador for the lighter weight divisions. Behind the power and the fame lies a story of discipline. Inoue's rise has been anything but accidental. His training is marked by relentless precision, guided by his father and trainer, Shingo, whose philosophy emphasizes fundamentals, patience, and calculated risk-taking. The dynamic between father and son has become central to Inoue's success, with Shingo crafting strategies that maximize his son's natural gifts while instilling humility and respect. As of today, Naoya Inoue stands undefeated, a perfect 28-0, with 25 opponents left staring at the ceiling before the final bell. His aura of invincibility continues to grow, and yet his journey remains unfinished. With ambitions to conquer more divisions and solidify his legacy as one of the greatest fighters in history, the future promises more epic chapters in the saga of the monster. Will he reach the pinnacle and become universally recognized as the greatest of all time? That question remains unanswered, but one thing is certain: Naoya Inoue's story is already etched into boxing lore. His journey from a boy in Kanagawa to a world champion admired across continents stands as a testament to talent, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. And as the boxing world watches his every step, there is little doubt that more unforgettable nights await.